Hello everyone, welcome for another episode of Diabesity Planet. Today I'm going to be going over days 4, 5, and 6. Took a bit of a hiatus because of the weekend. And today's Monday again, and I'm currently on day 6. And over the weekend, Saturday was day 4, Sunday was day 5. So overall, things have been going relatively well. Although I did I did have a little bit of a setback. I did cheat in the last 3 days, and mainly this was because I was at some social get-togethers, some family and some workplace events, some birthdays, etc. And it was sort of expected, and I would have been almost offensive not to eat anything. So I did eat a little bit and cheat on the continuous fast, and had some things like vegetables and some chicken as well. But overall, the quantity wasn't that much. And the main principle here is that this diet that I'm going on, this fasting diet, of course, the key is to fast, but also the key is also to um, not be so extreme as well that it starts to affect your family life, social life, work life, etc. This is the game of this is to actually improve your overall health so that you can be better, have more energy in every other aspect of your life. So, and also in terms of the fast itself, having a little bit of food, if you're doing, especially if you're doing a prolonged fast, like a 30-day fast, having some small amounts of, low carb and high fat foods won't make that much of a difference. It'll make some difference, but it won't throw you off and put you in a position where you have to start all over or anything like that, because you're still gonna see the benefits of the weight loss and the insulin decrease, etc., etc. So the message is, if for whatever reason you do succumb a little bit, keep pushing forward. The great thing about the fasting diet is, even if you were to reverse on it, to eat for a few days, whatever the case may be, you can always just fast it off. So that's why this is such an easy, practical, pragmatic diet. It's a guilt-free diet. It's not for anybody to feel guilty. Although I did feel guilty myself, but I also had to convince myself not to feel guilty and to feel happy, to move forward, to feel positive. And so I encourage you to do the same. And in terms of weights, I'm not sure if I went over it, but basically my waist circumference now is down to about 102. Again, I started at 106, and my weight is down to 197.4. So it did fluctuate a bit. It went down as low as 195 in the morning, but then by the evening it went down to 197.4. So we'll just stick with the evening readings. And weight can fluctuate even on a normal basis, anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds, just based on water and stool and urine and things like that. So I'll put that in the comment box as well, so we have that tracked. Now, in terms of the topic for today's video, I wanted to talk a lot about sustainability and safety, and mainly the safety aspect of things. A lot of my colleagues, friends, family, and rightfully so, I'm blessed to have them, have pointed out, certain concerns about the safety of being on a fasting diet and not taking in food, not taking in nutrients. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. So let's start with the question of what do you need to live? What food intake do you need? What vitamins? What kind of nutrients? So generally speaking, nutrients are divided into two nutrients. You have macronutrients and you have micronutrients. So macronutrients are carbohydrates, amino acids, and fats. Now, in terms of carbohydrates, there's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate, meaning there's no, sugar that no special kind of sugar that your body can't produce on its own. But when it comes to fat and amino acids, there are special amino acids that your body can't produce and that you do need to take in through your diet. The amino acids are mainly used for proteins, so that's why we eat proteins. And essential fats are also obviously derived from fats. So in terms of these macronutrients, So carbohydrates, again, is not a big issue, and the whole reason I'm doing this fast anyway is to get rid of all the carbohydrates and all the sugars in my body that's mainly stored in fat. So that's a good thing, right? And I don't need any source of energy right now because I have a surplus of it, and I'm trying to get rid of it. So as far as that goes, no issues, no concerns whatsoever. In terms of other things, in terms of fats, again, I have plenty of fat stores, so don't need to worry about that. Now, in terms of proteins and amino acids, there are essential amino acids that I do need. Now, if you're fasting for a short period, you're going to eat anyway in your eating period, so you don't really need to worry about that. But if you're doing a prolonged fast like this one, and again, this fast is usually prescribed for someone who has really bad obesity and wants to sort of kick the curb on it and have quick results, or for someone who's diabetic and needs more prolonged fasting. So in these cases, when it comes to proteins and amino acids, usually your body protein metabolism slows down a lot, and your body starts to retain a lot of the protein and amino acids that's already in your body. And what happens is you also have, when you do prolonged fasting, you have, when your insulin goes down, your growth hormone goes up, and that promotes the preservation of your muscle mass so that you're not breaking down excessive amounts of muscle. Again, you'll only start to break down excessive amounts of muscle if your body fat percentage is below 4% and you're already starved. So your body does not choose to burn protein and muscle as a source of energy and fuel until you're completely starved. So your body naturally knows that it's in starvation mode, and it starts to retain all the protein in your body, and in fact it starts to break down old cellular debris and proteins and recycles them to help replenish the proteins in your body. So so to give you an example, and I'll show you the reference result, there's the longest recorded fast was for about 382 days, which is over a year. There was a 27-year-old who fasted. He was 456 pounds, and he ended up fasting for 382 days straight, and he was lucky enough to lose he lost weight to about 180 pounds, and during that entire time, all he had was multivitamin and unlimited amount of water, and coffee, tea, etc. So acaloric liquids. So as far as protein goes, you don't really need protein on board if you're doing a prolonged fast. So that takes care of the macronutrients. So bottom line is, you have all these macronutrients on board. They're stored. Your body retains them, preserves them. You don't need any of them when you're doing a prolonged fast. In terms of micronutrients, so micronutrients consist of all the smaller nutrients and minerals and vitamins that you need for your daily metabolism. And the main and most important ones are your electrolytes, because these ions are involved in daily processes, and if they go low or too high, that could put you at serious risk of complications, such as heart complications, muscle complications, and ultimately even death, right? So the main ions or electrolytes that you need in your body are sodium, potassium, magnesium, phosphate, and chloride. Now, in terms of, for the average person who does not have many comorbidities, or especially doesn't have diabetes, these electrolytes generally stay constant even throughout a longer fast, meaning that your body retains them, doesn't let you secrete as much sodium and other electrolytes in your urine, so your kidneys withhold them from being wasted, and also you have a huge supply of these these electrolytes in your bones, so that if they do go low in your body, your bones can produce them, or they can be released from your bone. Also, it is not a bad idea to have some salt and magnesium, and there's a magnesium solution called, I believe it's called Slow Calm or something like that, where it's just a magnesium solution, and a lot of people just take it at night to help them feel better, to help them make them go to sleep. But some people will get muscle cramps and things like that on a fast. Sometimes their magnesium can be low, and if you take magnesium supplements, you'll be okay. Other than that, it is good to have salt from time to time to mix. So mix salt in with some of the liquids that you're taking, especially if you're actively exercising and you're sweating off a lot of salt. It's a good idea to take in some extra salt in your diet. Other than that, taking a multivitamin once a day is more than enough to help you with your daily vitamins and minerals. And lastly, last but not least, is also bone broth. So in addition to water, tea, and coffee that I'm having, I am also having bone broth. And bone broth is pretty rich in a number of amazing different things, including ions, electrolytes. It has some fat as well. So it has a lot of good nutrients that you could use while you're fasting. And to be honest with you, I actually was neglecting myself from having bone broth in the last couple of days. I did have it before when I was doing my my 7-day fast, but I neglected to do it in the last couple of days. And actually, one of my med school colleagues, I'll leave her to be anonymous, but she messaged me on Facebook and recommended me and reminded me to take in some bone broth. To help me with the extra nutrition. There is also the other good thing about bone broth is there is small amounts of protein, some minerals, calcium, magnesium, and things like that. So it's almost like taking a multivitamin essentially, and it also just helps you, with hunger and having some flavor and things like that. And you can also add, again, like I mentioned, you can add some sea salt and things like that to replenish on that as well. Okay, good. So that takes care of the macronutrients and the micronutrients. And again, as I mentioned, there are many other previous studies showing people who have fasted for long periods, like this gentleman. He went from 456 pounds to 180 pounds. By fasting straight for 382 days, which is amazing. And the most important thing here also is a lot of people are sort of anxious and think that this fasting is not a reliable way to lose weight, meaning that you'll gain it right back when you start eating. So here's another great example of someone who's done fasting, extreme fasting, and still maintained his weight. So in the same study, and again I'll quote the study here so you in the comments box, so you guys can look at it for yourselves. But this guy went from 456 pounds to 180 pounds. He's 27 years old, so same age as me, essentially, young guy. And 382 days he fasted for, went down to 180 pounds. The key thing is, on top of his amazing results for his initial weight loss, 5 years later, he was able to maintain his weight at around 196 pounds. So that's only 16 pounds more over 5 years than he did after his fast. And quite frankly, I don't know his height, but that's probably still within a pretty healthy weight, and especially much healthier than 456 pounds. So the bottom line is that fasting, and even prolonged fasting, is extremely sustainable. It's not dangerous for the average healthy person. Obviously, if you do have any additional illness, diabetes, etc., you should consult with a medical doctor at all times. And again, all the advice I'm giving is simply general advice, and you should double check and confirm everything with your doctor before going on such a diet. So it's extremely sustainable. You don't need any macronutrients. You do need micronutrients. Again, it's not mandatory, because actually this study showed that this guy just had a multivitamin every day for 382 days, and he was fine. His electrolytes stayed normal. The body compensated. The only other thing to watch out for is something called refeeding syndrome. And refeeding syndrome is a syndrome that occurs once somebody who's been starving for a prolonged period of time starts to eat food again. And what that does is, once you start eating food, the body metabolism revs up again, and a lot of those ions that your body needs, especially phosphate, starts to be used very quickly by these metabolic processes, and it gets used up too quickly, and that makes the body shut down. You start to get heart issues, etc., etc. So it can potentially be fatal. Now, the caveat to this is that this mainly only occurs in people who are starving for a prolonged period of time, and by starving I mean their body fat percentage is below 4%. So they're starving in the sense that they actually have no fat and nutritious stores on board. They've already depleted everything, and on top of that, they've been fasting, and now they're going to start eating food all of a sudden too quickly. So that's some small thing to watch out for. So if you do a prolonged fast, obviously make sure if you're going to start eating, start to eat very gradually. Have yourself supervised. You can get blood work to check for your electrolytes to make sure everything's okay and there's no red flags. And then one final point is this fast again is complete. This fasting diet is completely optional. Remember, the goal is always to make you feel better, to maintain your health, to lose weight, to reduce your insulin resistance, to prevent or treat diabetes, etc., etc. This fast is meant as a tool for liberation from your hunger, to liberate your health, etc. It's not meant as a way to punish yourself or to deprive yourself and to harm yourself. So at any point in time, if you don't feel well or you feel pressured or whatever, feel free to indulge a little bit and obviously make good food choices if you're going to eat. But whatever happens, don't feel guilty. Keep pushing on. If you fail, just don't worry. Get up, do it. Try doing it again. It's about promoting success and working hard towards that goal. There is no silver bullet, and nothing's perfect, and that's that's one of the things you should accept when you're on this diet. If you're not feeling well, you're feeling lightheaded, you're feeling dizzy, you're having a headache, you're in a rough situation, feel free to indulge. There's a lot of the great thing is with fasting, there's so many options. I'm just talking about the continuous one. Intermittent fasting is also equally an amazing suggestion and a great way to lose weight over a gradual period of time. And hopefully we'll talk more about the different regimens of fasting as time moves forward. So once again, thanks so much for listening, and looking forward to tomorrow's video. I haven't yet chosen the topic for tomorrow, but I was thinking of talking about biometrics and measurements. So what are the things that we want to measure when it comes to obesity and diabetes? So I think that's what we'll talk about for tomorrow. We'll talk about some of the different measurements and their significance and importance. So once again, thanks so much. Take care. Have a good one.